What is your reaction to today's results?
I am thrilled. I couldn't be more thrilled with the results, which not only return a democratic council, but actually restore us to having all 9 seats on the town council. And the Democrats won every seat we could win on the Board of Education and on the RTM. I'm thrilled that the voters have spoken and validated the great work that these people have been doing for the town, and recognize how hard these candidates worked, how dedicated they are. They went out and knocked on thousands of doors and talked to voters. And what they want is to represent the voters and to do good things for this town that they love. So I'm delighted.
Okay. What do you think was the biggest single issue on the minds of voters today?
Keeping Groton democratic was, I think, the single biggest issue on their mind. And there's lots of reasons for that. Of course, we all recognize that there are some things happening nationally and that are swaying many voters to the Democratic Party. I, of course, think that's a great thing. But in addition to that, I think we ran a really positive campaign. We did not go negative on anything, and there were things we could have gone negative on, but we chose not to do that. We chose to stay positive, to say, these are the good things we've done. These are the good things we'd like to do. And clearly, that resonated with the voters. So, positivity.
Okay, what are some of the key issues facing the town over the next 2 years?
There are a number of issues facing the town over the next couple of years. One, I think, is how the town is going to deal with some of the vacant school properties. What will be the best and highest use of those properties, and how that's determined with enough input from the community. And so I think that's one of the issues. In addition to that, there's maintaining the mill rate. Obviously, people always would like their taxes not to go up a lot if possible, but at the same time, they want good services. So there's a balancing act that has to happen. How to maintain the mill rate, but still provide quality human services. And that's something the Democrats are very concerned with, the human safety net and public safety, making sure that we keep the people of Groton safe, and addressing climate change, resiliency issues, and maintaining good schools. 30 years ago when I was on the council, we didn't have any blue ribbon schools here in Groton. Now we do. I think that's a tremendous thing. So balancing the mill rate with also keeping those really good services that people want.
Okay. How did having 5 Groton Independent Town Council candidates affect results today?
It's really interesting. Clearly, it gave the voters more choice. The voters for town council, the voters had 19 candidates to choose from. That's a good thing. It's a good thing when the voters have more choice. I think it probably energized the voters. We think we had a little bit higher voter turnout this year. That's a good thing when voters are engaged and want to participate. And at the same time, I think it also sent a message, the result of the election kind of sent a message that the positions of some of the candidates on the independent line did not represent the opinion of the majority of the voters, did not reflect what the majority of people in the town want. So I think that's very helpful to know and will be helpful to the council as they move forward.
What are other issues do you see the town council tackling over the next 2 years?
Sure. You know, one of them, I think we all know, is the growth at Electric Boat. That's going to create a number of issues for the town. Will there be a need for more services? Clearly, there's a housing crunch. Now, how do we address that in a way that serves the community? There's no easy answers to that, but the council will wrestle with it, do their best. In addition, I've also heard that with the addition of a boat, or maybe more than one boat, at the Navy, that there will be an influx of families. That could stress the school system if the actual number of children in the school system increases. So I think those are all things that the council and the Board of Ed and RTM are going to have to watch for and figure out how to address.
Okay. What will today's results mean for the RTM?
The Democrats will again have a supermajority on the RTM. We've had a supermajority now for several cycles, and I happen to think that's a good thing for the town because the Democratic members of the RTM really support good schools. You know, decades ago, the RTM used to cut the education budget significantly. That hasn't happened in recent years, and the Board of Ed has been very responsible in not having huge increases in the Board of Ed budget. I'm not always sure how they've managed to do such a good job at that, but they really have. So having a supermajority on the RTM, I think will lead also to a different tone on the RTM, a positive tone, people working together, and I really look forward to watching that happen.
Okay, what are some of the main issues for the Board of Education over the next 2 years?
The Board of Education has a number of challenges to address, one of which is, the students were so hurt during COVID, and many of them are still trying to recover from the academic losses that they experienced, or maybe not losses, but they didn't progress the way perhaps they should have. So the Board of Ed continues to have to figure out how to help those students catch up and how to do that within the limits of a budget that they can ask for from the town and the taxpayers. They've done a great job at going out and getting grants, more grant money than I think the board has ever had before. And I'm sure they'll continue to do that. In addition to that, we still have a couple of schools that are operating that are older schools that were never renovated when the other schools were renovated. I think people forget about that sometimes. Mary Morrison and Charles Barnum, they both they're going to need to be addressed at some point. So I trust that will be on the Board of Ed's radar. And certainly addressing student performance, providing the services that students need, and doing it in a cost-effective way that doesn't burden taxpayers. Striking that balance. And I think the Democrats are well equipped to do that.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
There is, actually. I would like to say thank you. Thank you to the voters for validating the Democrats who've been serving, for recognizing how hard they work, how much of their lives they sacrifice to serve their neighbors, and how much they care. I would also like to thank every candidate who ran. If you're not really closely involved in this, people don't always realize how hard it is to find candidates to run. And Groton should be grateful and thankful that we had so many people willing to step up, willing to serve. That's a good thing for a community. So whether I agree with a candidate, whether I like a candidate, I thank every one of them for stepping up, for being willing to run and being willing to serve. And they have my respect for that. So, and my last message would just be, If there are other people in the community, Democrats, who'd like to get involved, the Democratic Party in Groton is alive and well and thriving and growing, and we are open-armed, and we want new people, and we want diversity, and I hope people will reach out, check our website, check out our Facebook page, call me, get involved. It's pretty exciting and can be a lot of fun. It's also exhausting and really hard work during an election, but that's my message. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay. What is your reaction today what is your reaction to today's results?
Well, clearly we're disappointed. The Democrats have swept the council and collected most of the Board of Education seats. So wasn't the outcome we desired. And congratulations to the Democrats for winning again this year.
Okay. What do you think was the biggest single issue on the minds of voters today?
Hard to tell. I mean, Town of Groton used to be a strong Republican community, and it's changed over to being a very Democrat community. I'm not sure if there's downward pressure from what's going on the national political level, and if that is what's influencing our results.
Okay, what are some of the key issues facing the town over the next 2 years?
Well, the town's going to have to be looking carefully at development that's going to be happening related to electric boat and other projects in other parts of town, such as the Mystic Rural School property. They need to keep an eye on the property taxes. There's certainly an impact on our residents based on the fact that the last revaluation has made homeowners bear the burden of the bill. So those are some of the things that they're going to have to keep an eye on.
Okay, how did having 5 Groton Independent Town Council candidates affect the results?
Well, we're still analyzing that. I'm not sure if they stole from us or if they stole from the Democrats. They certainly didn't win anything tonight, which is good to see. But I think they've got enough that they'll be on the ballot in future years. So a lot of this is to be determined.
Okay, what other issues do you see the Town Council tackling over the next 2 years?
Well, I'm not sure. They've got a lot of things that they're going to have to work on. I think, again, as I said before, the biggest issue is really going to be economic development here in town. There's a lot of projects that are going to be coming before the council, reusing town property, and then other development options. So they've got a lot of moving parts. So we'll have to see what this council decides to take up.
Okay. What will today's results mean for the RTM?
Well, it looks like we've lost one seat so I'm not sure really much has changed. We're always in the minority as the Republicans, so the Democrats will stay in control of that body as well.
Okay, what are some of the main issues for the Board of some of the main issues for the Board of Education over the next 2 years?
So over the next 2 years, I think we'll have to keep an eye on the Board of Ed's budget as well. It's certainly one of the biggest parts of the overall townwide budget and our tax bill. So I think that's going to be certainly a priority for me as one of the people who want to see it.
Okay, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
All right,
appreciate
thanks.
your time.
What is your reaction to today's results?
We're really excited. Our goal going into this election was to achieve 1% of the vote in order to establish our town committee under state statute, and we definitely achieved that. I think we had a really great showing. So we're very excited about the result, and that's about all there is to say.
What do you think was the biggest single issue on the minds of voters today?
I think in general, voters are worried about cost of living, affordability, taxes, and all of that kind of is wrapped up into economic development. When we were able to hit about 1,500 doors talking to voters, and that's the single issue that kept coming up consistently was cost of living and affordability here in Groton.
What are some of the key issues facing the town over the next 2 years?
Again, I think that's largely going to be economic development, which in my mind includes the housing issue, being able to scale Groton at a pace that is in conformity with what the community wants, while also making good on some of the opportunities that are happening around us.
How did having 5 Groton Independent Town Council candidates affect results?
I think that's really interesting. A lot of folks anecdotally came up to us and said they were really interested in having a third option. We only had about 2 months from when the Secretary of State approved our candidates to when we actually voted on them to raise awareness. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how we're able to build on this town committee. Obviously, we were able to get our 1%. How we build on the next 2 years to give voters further choice and further awareness on what their options are.
What other issues do you see the town council tackling over the next 2 years?
So one of the biggest things that'll come up is the Plan of Conservation and Development. That's a 10-year document that kind of lays the groundwork for all that goes on within a town in terms of developments, what businesses come in, where you build housing, what you prioritize in terms of land uses, be that passive recreation, active recreation, industrial uses, etc. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how they handle such an important guiding document. I think also they'll have to deal with some shifts in the economy. Obviously, a lot of people are working more and more from home. What does that do in creating third spaces for folks? What does that do for the housing need? More people are becoming more transient as they don't need to live as close to work. In addition to that, obviously we have new businesses like recreational marijuana coming to town. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
What will today's results mean for the RTM?
It's really interesting. We're hoping as we are able to grow our town committee, there's a lot of vacancies already on the RTM. Neither party was able to find enough candidates for several districts. I think that it'll be interesting to provide that opportunity to new members of our town committee in order to help them learn a little bit more about how our town government works, get a little bit more familiar with the budget process, and ultimately continue to train community leaders.
What are some of the main issues for the Board of Education over the next 2 years?
I really think that's going to be re-engagement. The effects of the pandemic, academically, socially, really have hit students. So over the next 2 years, I think the Board of Education will have to work towards re-engaging students in terms of bringing them not only back to the classroom physically, but also getting them back to where they need to be academically and social emotionally.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
We just want to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone who supported our efforts. This was a big undertaking. We had an amazing showing at the polls, honestly. So just thank you to everyone who gave us their support, and you'll be hearing more of us. Thank you.